So we on this channel have talked before about freeports. They're incredibly bad, incredibly bad. But we've also talked about the fact that one of Rishi Sunak's big economic mentors who he took a lot of learning from and pretty much learnt from is massively part of what they call the chartered cities movement, something which, guess what, Sunak wanted to do. He floated this idea as something to do that instead of putting money into developing a city, what you would do is, let's say, again, you take somewhere like Sheffield, you'd call it a chartered city. The second that happens, the mayoralship, any democratic elected body goes, and he's immediately replaced with instead, well, a company board for the Sheffield chartered city is set up. And then companies who then invest in this chartered city then get a seat at the table. They then become the ones that get to make the decisions. Anyone else, you can forget it. It is all becomes this massive oligarchical control over then a city, deciding essentially whatever it wants to do. Now, they've actually tried this. I think it was somewhere in Indonesia, and it absolutely failed within 3 to 4 months. These places turn out, again, complete free market fundamentalist libertarian nightmare hellholes. But this was something they wanted to advance. However, after you've had freeports, which, bear in mind, Ben Houchen massively still in favor of that freeport, even though we know freeports don't work. Chartered cities, again, idea floated by Rishi Sunak as the next big advancement. These free economic zones, if you remember Liz Truss posting about, instead of, a city, you just go, well, we just carve this bit out of the country and that's a free economic zone. And yeah, just go wild. You don't have to follow any rules, laws, or regulations, companies, whatever. Just go wild. So you might be thinking, then surely that's it. Surely these people who've come up with this idea, surely they're not going to go any further or crazier any of this, right? Because every time they've tried one of these ideas, they end up being huge disaster zones. The case of the free ports become massive magnets for criminal activity. The chartered cities, as we've said, become free market fundamentalist libertarian nightmare places. Economic free zones, companies basically allowed to run wild doing whatever the hell they want. Every single one of those ideas has ended up in absolute disaster. So what new, fresh hellhole is now being put forward by the crypto bros? Yes, because they're the ones who are pushing it. They are now adopting an idea to essentially create their own country with this very same idea. I kid you not. So, before we go more into this nonsense, let's first of all take a quick break and go click the like, click the share button. Down below, there's the Patreon page, there's the Buy Me Coffee link, there's the YouTube thank you button, and of course, there's the Pony Club down below as well. And of course, thank you very much to everyone who does help and support the channel. Even if you do, just click the like and share button. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment down below as well. So let's quickly go over to this, because this was on the BBC, and oh my word, yes, you are seeing that right. The crypto bros who dream of crowdfunding a new country. What they are proposing is essentially, I don't even think you call it colonialism. I think you call it, it's colonialism of a certain kind, but I don't know what you would really call it. Crypto colonialism. I don't know, but this is This is what they want to do. So we're just going to quickly go over this. But again, if you want to read this, it goes over all these things. And it's insane, the stuff that they want to do, or at least want to be able to get away with. So starts off with this. Do you look at the possibility of political turbulence ahead of November's US presidential elections and think democracy could be in trouble? So does now a group of tech entrepreneurs backed by big Silicon Valley money, and they love it. Trust me, this gets so much worse. Imagine if you could choose your citizenship the same way you choose your gym membership. That is a vision of the not too distant future put forward by Balaji Srinivasan. Balaji, who, like Madonna, is now mostly just known by his first name, and he's a complete rock star in the world of crypto. A serial tech entrepreneur and a venture capitalist who believes that pretty much everything governments do, tech can do better. Except, again, never really been proven. Like I say, freeports, chartered cities, economic free zones all ended up failing massively. So I watched Balaji outline this idea just last autumn in a vast conference hall in the outskirts of Amsterdam, saying, we start new companies like Google. We start new communities like Facebook. We start new currencies. Again, it's not a currency like Bitcoin and Ethereum. We can start new countries. So can we start new countries? He asked. Again, Bitcoin and Ethereum, I'm sorry, are not a currency. They are a speculative aspect, a speculative thing. You gamble on it. Bitcoin and Ethereum are not currencies. Yes, you can buy things, but anyway, you look at how, the money in your bank pocket or bank account is used. That's not the way that things like Bitcoin and etc. are used. Do not act like any currency whatsoever. But all these people desperately trying to push these ideas because it's a lot of them how they hide their wealth. Definitely something that we need to, I think, start taking seriously, especially as Donald Trump said not that too long ago, I believe in Las Vegas, that he wants to allow Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies to be used as a form of currency. That would be absolutely terrible. Bear in mind. But anyway, enough about that. So he asked this now as he ambled on stage, dressed in now a slightly baggy grey shirt and loose tie. He looked less like a rock star and more like a middle manager in a corporate's accounts department. But do not be fooled. Balaji is now a former partner in a giant Silicon Valley venture capital firm, Anderson Horowitz, and his backers have very deep pockets. Silicon Valley loves disruption. Tech startups have been disrupting the traditional media for years now. They're making inroads into other areas too: education, finance, space travel. Imagine thousands of different startups, each of them replacing a different legacy institution. Balaji told the audience. They exist alongside the establishment now in parallel. They're pulling away users. They're gaining strength until they become a new thing. Here's the thing. Yes, technically, this does happen. You see this. Company grows, new startup happens, pulls company away. Do these legacy institutions sometimes disappear? Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. They reinvent themselves. But the way that they view companies like that, those legacy companies, they view them as zombie companies. This is all whole part of this free market fundamentalist mindset. It's honestly, we don't have time to go into that, but honestly, insane, insane mindset to go into. It's like hyper-capitalism, probably more than that. It's like capitalism on crack. The sort of mindset that these guys really have. So, if startups, he says, could now replace all these different institutions, Balaji reasoned that they could replace countries too. He calls his idea a network state, a startup nations, and here's how it would work. Communities from on the internet initially around a set of shared values or even interests. They then acquire land, becoming physical countries with their own laws. Again, not how that works, but there you go. They then would exist alongside existing nation states and eventually even replace them altogether. How would that happen? But bear in mind, how would this new nation do that? I don't see how that happens. Anyway, he continues, you would then choose your nationality like you choose your broadband provider. You would then become a citizen of a franchised cyber statelet of your choice. There is nothing new about corporations now having undue influence in the affairs of nation states. The term banana republic derives from the fact that a US company, United Fruit, effectively ruled Guatemala for decades, beginning in the 1930s. Apart from owning the majority of the land, they ran the railways, the postal service, the telegraph. And when the Guatemalan government tried to push back, the CIA helped United Fruit out by instigating a coup. But the network state movement now appears to have even greater ambitions still. It doesn't just want to plate existing governments so that companies can just run their own affairs. It wants to replace governments with companies. Yeah, I can't see that ending badly any way, shape or form whatsoever. That is neo-feudalism. Because at that point, democracy is gone. If a company gets to control anything, your say in any government goes completely. But this is the insane mindset that these crypto bros go and operate. This is why they're so invested in crypto, this whole promise of freedom that the cryptocurrency brings. But there is a reason why no country in the world is touching crypto, going anywhere near it, legitimizing it in any way, shape, or form, because it is not a currency. It is so unstable. You see the price of Bitcoin just fluctuate wildly throughout the years. That is not a stable currency. It is not backed by anything. It has nothing to it. It is incredibly unsecure. It is absolutely insane. But now these people are thinking, well, guess what? We can just replace countries with corporations. And honestly, go read the article. Gets even worse. Gets even worse. The type of stuff that they would want to do. But remember, this has been tried before. And every single time it has failed. And this is just the next step. All starts with freeports, then moved on to chartered cities, then free economic zones, and now, oh, let's replace an entire country with a corporation because, totally nothing could go wrong there, right, guys? Yeah. They're insane. Lunatics. Absolute lunatics, to be honest. But there you go. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. And of course, as always, we'll see you all next time.